Welcome out to another episode of It's All Been Checked Before. This time we're wrapping up Season 3 of Deep Space Nine. Can you believe it? We're already there. 3 seasons through Deep Space Nine. Where does the time go? Hey, if you spend a lot of time on social media, drop in on a little corner that we've got on Facebook. It's All Been Checked Before. Keep up with what we're up to, what episodes are dropping, funny stuff about us, funny stuff about the episodes, and get in there. Tell us what you think about us or the episodes. You don't have to necessarily love us or the episodes. You might hate it. You might love it. Let us know. Follow us. It's All Been Trekked Before on Facebook. And now we're going to wrap up Season 3 of Deep Space Nine here on It's All Been Trekked Before.
Welcome out to another episode of It's All Been Trekked Before. Your Skeleton Station crew is here.
This is Steven.
Jimmy, Jerome, or Olivia James, sorry. Old habits. We are here to talk about Star Trek Deep Space Nine, Season 3 overall. First impressions.
A lot of great episodes, and as I was trying to review them and, we inevitably, even reading, I went and read some other reviewers' thoughts and synopses and stuff. And even then some of it's like, oh, am I remembering this episode? Right. But I felt like we had some really high highs, a few low lows, but another pretty good season, I think. And in reading some of their comments, I think I was struggling over where to place this season. In the green room before, I think I was saying some of the folks were like, well, I think 3 is just a little better than 1, but not as good as 2, which I thought was interesting. There's some great episodes in those first 2 seasons too, but I thought we had, at face value, I thought we had more this season. And maybe it's, I think we regarded these episodes better than these folks that I was reading, but not all of them, not necessarily perfect. There are some things that we didn't like, they like more, so which is inevitable. But
yeah, I would say my impression is it was I enjoyed this season a lot. When I look at the tops of the season, my initial reaction was I think season 2 and 3 are about the same in quality, but as I go to the middle, I think season 2 drops off faster than season 3, and I look at the bottom. And I do think we didn't drop as far in season 3 as we did in season 2. So I think this does edge out. I didn't write it down if we said season 1 or season 2 was better, but I'm pretty sure we agreed season 2 was better, right? Like season 1 was fine. Yeah. We loved Duet. We loved In the Hands of the Prophets. Yep. But then Emissary was number 3, and we just kind of liked Emissary. It wasn't a bad season, but it wasn't super strong. Whereas season 2, we had Blood Oath at the top, The Wire, the Jemadar crossover, the Collaborator, the Maquis Part 1 and 2. Those are all great episodes. And then we get down to Homecoming, Necessary Evil, The Siege, that 3-parter, not as good. Whereas this season, our top is The Die Is Cast and Improbable Cause, which was 80% of the way through the season, the 2-parter with Tane and Garrick and stuff. Great stuff. Family Business, The Ferengis, The Adversary, which we just watched here. Shakar, Destiny, Life Support with Bashir dying, we really loved. Facets we enjoyed, Explorers, Jake and Ben on the sailing vessel. Defiant, where Tom Riker came back. The Search Parts 1 and 2, and House of Quark in the middle, which we really liked. We're now past the halfway point, and I'm still in episodes that I'm kind of excited about. Whereas you get to that point in season 2, it's lesser. It's not. I don't feel as strongly happy about those. We do have Distant Voices and Meridian at the bottom. Meridian was our Brigadoon episode. And Through the Looking Glass, it was a bad Mirror Universe episode, but because it's Mirror Universe, I think I almost graded on a curve and it wasn't that bad, but I remember thinking it was pretty bad when we reviewed it.
Yeah, I think there were fewer filler episodes just in general, essentially what you were saying, even the departure episodes, I think the Explorers is an excellent example of one of those episodes where it's all right, we're gonna just do this weird thing this episode. And even then, it was all right, this guy, interesting, 2 different relationships in that one, because I think that's the one with Bashir and O'Brien getting drunk the whole episode too. I think so.
Might be,
which was fun.
I think Explorers for me, I've been frustrated in these first couple seasons of the lack of Cisco development. We've had some really great moments of Cisco, but we haven't had many episodes that are Cisco episodes that are really centered on him, that show what Avery Brooks can do. And we're going to have a number of them in the rest of the series. And I think Explorers kind of set that up of, oh, like, first of all, the relationship with Jake's going to keep coming back, but he can
Yeah.
have other relationships with other characters that are just as good, or maybe not just as good, because the special bond, father and son. But I
Right.
really, Explorers was a good example of let's dwell on Cisco more, and not just as the captain, not just as the war leader, the war chief, essentially, he'll become. But let's dwell on him in his personal life, his relationship
Yeah.
with his son, the things he's interested in
Yeah.
beyond Starfleet. And I loved it. I thought it was such a. I can't wait for more of that stuff coming. Really good, really solid.
The one reviewer, and I'll plug it, even though these reviews are 15 years old. Jammer, I mean, as we review a show that's 30 years old, jammersreviews.com. He actually really liked Explorers as well, and for a lot of the same things you're talking about there, as far as getting different glimpses of Cisco, and he really liked Cisco and the boys' relationship. He did not like family business as much as we did, but and to show that, he doesn't even mention Andrea Martin. So I'm like, what are we doing here? So
Family Business was a near perfect episode.
yeah, it was. Yeah.
That also sets a template for let's do fun Ferengi episodes of the Ferengis just goofing around and getting into stuff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
There's a few more of those to come as well. I think season 3, well, we didn't fully get into Dominion yet. It felt more teased than committed to.
Mm-hmm.
Although there was good Dominion stuff, I do think it figured out a lot of the other elements of the show. Like it locked in where some of their personal stories are, and also that we
Mm-hmm.
should be telling these personal stories in a way that I feel Next Gen never really did. Like we had episodes that were Picard centric or Riker centric or whoever, and sometimes they did a little backstory.
Mm-hmm.
But the side of Quark we get to see in Family Business, the side of Cisco we get to see in Explorers, even the side of Dax we get to see in Facets,
Mm-hmm.
or in Life Support, Kira, like Morning Baral. We never had that level of character stuff in Next Gen, I don't think. I can't think of any.
Well,
Maybe Picard and Family right after Best of Both Worlds.
yeah.
That's the closest, that's the only one that comes to mind, and that's, I don't know.
I'll use a show that's a lot of our listeners may not have seen, but The Bear just finished their season 4. So, and I won't give away any spoilers, but just to say, I think there were a lot of things that if you hadn't watched the first 3, a lot of things that land from watching the first 3 seasons when you watch season 4. And ideally, that's the way any show should work, right? That you should, and not in a sense of, oh, we're getting lazy, so we're just gonna be like, remember when this happened? Not that kind of thing. More of like, we've built this, these characters, not only their history, but who they are and what their relationships are and what their arcs are that are going on. And so, I mean, I know it makes it easier for the writers, but I didn't think we got super lazy or anything here. I thought we continued to progress with them. And also some of those things make great moments. Like Heart of Stone is one that I feel like we've got that pretty low rated, don't we?
It's number 17 of 26.
Okay, so that sounds about right. Well, like for the example, the mirror episode you mentioned, that works based on what we've seen so far. So, and I'm not to say that everything worked or that obviously we've got room to grow, and I know it's coming, but I thought there were a lot of things they were able to do because of it's season 3, and that's when a lot of shows started hitting their stride. So so I think that also helps with having a higher floor as well.
I mean, it was definitely better than the original series season 3.
Yes. Unquestionably. Yeah.
The original series did not hit its stride in season 3.
Nope, that was a sinking ship. And we kind of talked about early on when they got on the Defiant, not the episode, but the ship, that, like Buck Rogers, they did this and it didn't go well. And season 3 of TOS didn't necessarily go a different direction, but we know behind the scenes it did, and that did not help things. I will defend season 3 of TOS to an extent, but it does have some high points and a lot of low points. And this is definitely better than that season 3.
You bring up an interesting element they added for this season, the Defiant, because that wasn't in the first 2 seasons. They added it at the beginning of season 3. And I don't think they had figured out how to use it, because we didn't use it a lot for most of the season. And we really only had the bridge set and the apartment set, the bunk beds that even the captain has to share a quarters until the end of the season. And then they built engineering in a Jeffries tube and started to show us more, and a mess hall, and started to show us more of the Defiant. obviously there's going to be plenty more of the Defiant going forward. They'll do plenty of episodes set completely on it. We'll see other sets for it. How do you think that element? It does kind of replace the runabouts because we barely get the runabouts this season.
Yeah.
But do you think it's better or worse than runabouts? Do you think it added a positive thing, or was it more of a distraction?
My concern was it was going to dominate the season, kind of way, like I said, Buck Rogers
didn't do that.
Yeah, Buck Rogers in his second season was like, nope, we're doing more to the Star Trek than the Star Wars, like whatever. And that didn't sound good for them either, but for a lot of other reasons. But no, I think okay, I think I still have my not suspicions, my reservations slightly, but I so far though I think it's been fine. Like I think they've used it sparingly enough and logically enough to be like, oh okay. And then like I said, even the one episode Explorer he's like, no, I'm just gonna build a ship, which is a very dad thing to do. It's like restoring a car, I guess, in our time, and getting your son to be interested in it. So yeah, I thought there's still some amount of convenience to it, but I think they do a good job of justifying it in that you feel like everyone that's on that ship is pretty qualified to do what they're doing on that ship.
Mm-hmm.
I saw like, O'Brien obviously was on the Enterprise, and they're all very qualified people. So you can buy that, and it's just and it's not. You're not on the Enterprise. You're on a different, like you said, it's kind of a replacement for the runabouts, which I'll miss all the names of the runabouts because I thought those were great.
They're still around, but we just don't have as much use for them since we've got a ship now. I will say I was looking at how different sites have ranked the seasons of Deep Space Nine. Yeah. And there are some different rankings. I think thegamer.com gets it perfectly right, and that matches Google's AI results, where they rank it from the bottom, seasons 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 6. I agree that I think season 6 is the strongest. Season 6 is my favorite episode, but I do think season 7 is right up there with it. And I agree, it goes from worst to best as the series goes on, other than arguably the last two seasons reversed. And it's a slight reversal. It's not a big reversal. It's not like a noticeable dip in the final season. It's more just like season 6 was so damn good. Maybe season 7 doesn't quite hit it, but we're right about there. Yeah. And I love that about. Now there are other rankings I see that still have season 6 as number 1. I feel like that's pretty well established that most people think season 6 was number 1. There are other rankings that also have like 7, 5, and then it departs. But then there's other ones that just are. This ranking has season 7 as number 4, which makes no sense to me. I don't know. But anyway, point is, I think it's pretty apparent that overall, most people think the show just keeps getting better up until where it hits its peak, and then it stays there. It doesn't, like, plummet. Unlike original series, which had 2 really uneven but strong seasons. Like, I would consider 1 and 2 both very strong because they both had lots of episodes that were really good. Yeah. And then season 3 was lesser. I feel like they're pretty comparable. Yeah. Whereas with Next Gen, there was definitely a peak midway through, and then it went down majorly, with some exceptions in those last few seasons. So I'm really happy with where this is. I'm really excited for where it's going. And if you're like it now, Next Gen, we ranked 5, 4, 3, 2, 6, 1, 7. We put the last season at the bottom. Oof. Yeah. It was bad. And 6 was just barely above season 1. Like, it really did. Seasons 3, 4, 5 was its stride. I'm happy to say that Deep Space Nine, even though I kind of feel like by Next Generation standards, it's hit what I would have considered the Next Gen stride in season 3. Like, I would put season 3 up against any season of Next Generation. Mm-hmm. And maybe it doesn't top season 5. Maybe we debate that. But I think it at least is in the ballpark. Yeah, I think. And it's only going to go up from here. So TNG was very much a bell curve, but I don't know if the bell curve went that. I mean, there's definitely episodes we love, that's for sure. Mm-hmm. But yeah, and I wonder, like, I've been talking about how much I love the characters on Voyager. And Voyager's good. Yeah, and maybe it's and maybe we've talked about this before, but the idea of as obviously I'm a TOS shill,
but
Sure.
it's kind of like that thing, the SNL cast that you watched in high school or college,
Yep.
is your favorite. And I, yeah, I guess Phil Hartman and those guys. I was just out of college, I guess, but either way. But so for me, TOS was my original, and it's because I have a lot of friends that are a little younger than me, and TNG is their show,
Mm.
and obviously I enjoyed it. And like from week to week, I didn't dread watching TNG by any means when we were watching it. It wasn't like, oh God, what a chore, what a terrible show.
Right.
Just as we went along, they weren't as strong. But I think the differentness, for lack of an actual English word, differentness of the distinctiveness of DS9. As much as I say, like, oh, it feels like it's in the '90s, and because it makes sense because it is. But I think the fact that it is very different from the two previous ones, even with the Defiant thrown in, and then all the developing storylines make me. Each episode, I'm like, oh, I'm excited to see where we're going. We've had the different two-parters and like we've had all along, but there's those two. But it's also every time I sit down, I feel like even when we end up with an episode, it's like, that was kind of a Star Trek tropey one. But going in, it's like, I don't know what we're getting here. And again, that's my advantage of it's as much as this is a Star Trek rewatch podcast, I'm not getting back into rewatching for a while. And these are all watches for me.
Right.
So I'm
Until we
enjoying
get to
it.
New Trek. And even
Yeah.
then, you're going to have Picard held back for you.
Picard is all the others I've been watching, but not Picard. Yeah, so
which I think was smart. Yeah, at this point, not only did you need to finish Next Gen, you need to finish Voyager before you do Picard. I do feel like if you hadn't watched Prodigy yet, I'd now be telling you not to watch Prodigy.
Yeah,
but too late for that.
So I know there are things in Prodigy that I understood because we started Voyager, but also there's probably a lot of things I missed because I hadn't watched all of Voyager. So
we'll get to Prodigy for this podcast, and you'll rewatch Prodigy, and then you'll get it all. So I think your second time through Prodigy might be a different experience for you.
I think it will be, for sure.
So do you think that Deep Space Nine has matched Next Gen's best years yet, or do you think it still hasn't hit Next Gen's best years? Could see an argument either way, honestly.
Yeah, I think their best episodes you could put against their best, the TNG's best for those peak years.
So at least ballpark, whether you're willing to make a definitive call, you're saying Deep Space Nine's already where TNG was in like seasons 4 and 5 when it was at its peak.
Yeah, and I think to your point of the fact that we can have, to varying degrees, but like a Quark episode where he goes and does his thing, or Cisco and the boy go out, and
the boy.
There's still the B plot with which is very ridiculous but hilarious with Bashir and O'Brien, and it's still like, okay, that was cool. We still want better Jadzia episodes, but I say that, but as we talk through facets, I'm like, you know what? There's a lot of good stuff in there, even if I didn't love it.
I don't think Jadzia still has better plots ahead, but I do think Facets was a step up for some of her other stuff we've seen.
Yeah. Well, and the Kira focus episodes are always
from season 1. Kira's the one that hit the ground fully formed.
Yeah, and again, credit to Nana Visitor for sure, but
not to get too much in your way, but while Nana Visitor, Kira holds the best season 1 episode, Dax holds the best season 2 episode. It was Blood Oath, and that's a Dax episode.
That's true.
Facets is not a step up from Blood Oath. I want to go on the record of saying.
I agree. That I agree.
Blood Oath is the best Dax episode to date.
Yes, for sure. I keep forgetting that's a very good point.
I will say, while there are some really good Dax stories coming up, and my favorite Dax stories all involve Klingons, Blood Oath might be her best episode. I don't want to...
You mean for the whole series, or just...
Yeah. It might be the best Dax-centric episode of the series.
Okay.
Every other character... Kira Duet might be her best episode too. It was such a good episode. Kira's got great stuff coming. Dax does too. But I feel like the two of them may have already had their best episodes of the series. And that's just a testament to how good those episodes are, I think. Yeah. Those are our number ones of seasons 1 and 2. Interestingly, the primary character, I would argue, of the top 2 season 3 episodes, because it was a 2-parter, is Garrick, who's not a lead and has only been in the show a handful of times.
Yep. There's something to that. There is something to that.
Also, we have not done the best Garrick episode yet. This two-parter is not the best Garrick episode.
Okay.
Because my favorite episode of Star Trek, period,
Yeah.
is a Cisco and Garrick led episode.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, I obviously don't want to. That's season 6. We've got some time.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
Deep Space Nine, so pleased with these first 3. I really felt like looking back from a 2025 perspective, and I had not watched the show through in 20 years, but I really thought my impression from 20 years ago was that seasons 1 through 3 were kind of meandering, and then season 4 on it takes off. And I am so pleased to know that's not true, because I really felt like it stopped kind of meandering through a lot of season 2. And season 3, while we had some side trips, it wasn't that meandering. It was pretty on focus in season 3. So much setup. I was over the moon. We meet Cassidy Yates once near the end of season 3, but then they mention her every freaking episode after that. Like, they are so set. It boggles my mind how right now the studio is still believing in them when they kept insisting, we're not going to go serialize. No, don't look this way. When they have something like Cassidy Yates, which is clearly set up as a serialized story, she's going to be in tons of episodes. We've seen her once.
Well, and we talk about this a lot on here, that it's always show, don't tell, but sometimes tell is better than show. So we keep hearing about, we've met her, but we keep hearing more about her. So we know stuff's going on, and she's kept in our minds. And, was it Adversary where they had the conversation about her and Cisco? Maybe it was a few episodes before that, but.
There was a conversation about her in Adversary.
Okay,
sure.
Yeah.
Where they're like, why didn't you tell her before you left or whatever? And he's like, I barely had time to call my father.
Yeah. So
I'm so excited to get into that relationship because that first date was great, but it was barely a tease.
Yeah. We're not done with DS9. Obviously, we got a long way to go.
No, we're not even halfway yet. Almost, but not yet.
Again, I feel like I'm disparaging TNG people, but it's interesting the different people that are like, I never got into DS9, but again, I think it's that SNL thing, kind of like, well, Voyager was my thing, or TNG was my thing, or, well, I guess if you weren't into, I don't know anyone that Enterprise is their thing yet, but maybe we'll find that person.
What I'm excited for, and I'm only going to tease, I won't be big spoiler, of things that you already know. Deep Space Nine going forward is they do start to bring in some more next-gen elements. Surprisingly works because they figure out how to use the Klingons better than Next Gen ever did. But because they figure out how to use the Klingons, we bring in our favorite Klingons, Worf. We bring in Gowron. We bring in Tony Todd as Kern.
Yeah.
We bring in Alexander, who's been recast. We bring back, the Gowron is great in Deep Space Nine. Much more interesting, much more. He was already kind of rounded in Next Gen, but they really round out Gowron better. Our old Klingon that survived Blood Oath will be back. Worf will be joining the cast in the beginning of season 4 for the rest of the series.
I keep forgetting that Worf is coming.
He's so good in Deep Space. He's way better and more developed in Deep Space Nine than he is Next Gen.
Yeah.
Part of why I love the character of Worf so much is, having just watched Next Gen, it's like, I don't love Worf from Next Gen. He's fine.
Yeah,
I like him towards the end of Next Gen and in the film.
Yeah.
The Next Gen films, because Deep Space Nine spends so much time developing him, then when he comes back for the Next Gen films, you're like, oh, well, no, he's better developed now, but it's not because of the Next Gen writers, it's because Deep Space Nine's been developing him.
In that concept, and this is for the sports people to listen here, and I don't know how big that set is, but it's like, and as we record this, we're around the trade deadline for Major League Baseball. It's like adding a top pitcher to a cast that's already killing it. And that could throw things off. In theory, that could throw things off, but
they don't get rid of anybody to make room for him. They just added him. And it's because Deep Space Nine was struggling in the ratings. Next Gen had ended really, really high. Voyager came in high, and Deep Space Nine was second to both of them at all times. It never surpassed either, which is a shame because I think in quality it's better than both. But they brought Worf in to boost ratings. However, it doesn't feel like a stunt because it's so well done. And he so well integrates in this cast. And Michael Dorn's on record of saying, I kind of liked working on Next Gen better because Next Gen was a goofy set. We all joked around. We all played pranks. He's like, Deep Space Nine, everybody took it so seriously. It was much more work. And it does did take Michael Dorn some time to integrate into this new cast. But his character, Worf, fits beautifully in this world. We're also going to get, I'm going to tease one more. We have a few more recurring characters we haven't met yet, and there are one or two that probably won't show up till like season 6, like late in the series. But there is a Klingon coming whose name is Martok, who second maybe only to Worf might be my favorite Klingon in the franchise. Like Martok is such a great Klingon. And we've already seen the actor in Deep Space Nine. He played I think it was a Vulcan first officer in the pilot on Sisko's Saratoga in the flashback.
Yeah.
J.G. Hertzler. He's fabulous. And his character, Martok, trust me, you're going to love it. We're going to get Section 31 in the coming seasons. We're going to get, because it's not been introduced in canon yet, we'll get the introduction of Section 31. We're going to get a really, really cool original series tie-in that I won't spoil. I think you already know, but I won't spoil anymore. We're going to get some really neat, like, Black History style episodes from Avery Brooks started to get more heavily influencing in the content, which is only to Deep Space Nine's benefit. Like, they really start serving his heritage and culture and the things he wants to tell about the Black experience in a science fiction context.
Yeah.
And that's part of what I loved about Deep Space Nine is, to be honest, I didn't know that much about the Black experience in America. You learn about slavery and stuff in school. But part of what Avery Brooks builds into the next few seasons is part of what sparked me to go and read more and learn more. I had seen Roots, but and I love Roots. I've rewatched it multiple times. But Avery Brooks really works in some things here that don't feel forced in, but definitely make you more want to get more into learning. I'm so glad they gave him the platform and the voice. And if you're going to give us our first Black Starfleet captain, you should let us do things like that. Plus, New Orleans food and culture. His dad's going to show up. I love his freaking dad so much. So, all those are teases. Let's not talk anymore about it. Let's get into our final rankings here.
So it sounds like you're saying Star Trek was woke back then.
Star Trek was woke in the 60s in context. You know this.
I do.
Star Trek's been woke since day one.
If you don't,
unlike Star Wars, sorry.
If you don't get it, then I don't know how you're here.
Right?
Yeah.
So we decided the rankings are season 3, 2, 1, right? So far?
Yeah, yep.
We're getting a drink within season 3. I'm scrolling through. You have Odo twice, you have Lita twice. And I think that's your only 2 repeats this season.
Not surprisingly, Chase Masterson showed up on. I deserve to be shamed for this, but there is a Facebook group that I'm in, Beam Me Up Hottie, which quite often
I'm sure Chase Masterson is prominently featured.
She was today's, and since we just did that episode a couple weeks ago, that she was in Facets.
Well, she's been in 2 episodes so far. She'll be in plenty more for the rest of the series.
And I will say, as much as sometimes it's like, the cheesecake shots are a bit much, but I mean, I appreciate them as a man who likes women, but also like, what are we doing here? But sometimes I like they feature people, like actually today, Eleanor Donahue was featured, and like they had one shot of her in like a one-piece bathing suit from 19 whatever, back in the 60s or whatever, but still, I was like, Eleanor Donahue, I haven't thought about her in a while, and that episode. And then they usually give some facts about it. Not always, but anyway, Chase Masterson. But this season, so you know what? It seems like there's, even though I picked those guys, I feel like, looking over the season, I feel like it should be Sisko. I know that's a lazy choice, but
you did not pick Sisko a single episode this season.
Yeah.
I think that's fair because all the little bits add up, right?
Yeah. I feel like I tend to go like, well, I can't pick him. But overall, I think that's where I'm going.
You have not picked Sisko at all in all 3 seasons.
Exactly, yeah.
You've never once picked Sisko.
I know I picked Kirk back in the day, for sure. And
I'm sure you did. I'm not pulling that back up, but yeah, I'm sure you did. I bet
Kirk was a lot, but yeah. For the season, I'm going to go with Sisko.
There, and honestly, seasons 4 through 7 all have better Sisko arcs than this season. So great. I'm glad you're already seeing the signs of why he's my favorite captain, I think.
Yeah. I feel like all of that ticked up a notch this season for me, seeing different facets of Avery Brooks. And like, I think you mentioned a couple of times, like more of that captain kind of feel.
We finally got to be a captain at the end of the season. Thank goodness.
Yeah.
It really felt a bit racist that we've had our first black captain. He was a commander for 3 seasons.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I wish Keith was here to speak to that, but oh well. I had Odo twice as well, same as you. I had Garrick 3 times. I had Cisco 3 times. I had Dax 3 times. Well, one of them was Mirror Dax, but still. No, I had Dax 4 times if you count Mirror Dax. Yeah, I think I don't want to choose Cisco or Garrick yet, because even though they both bump up multiple times, again, their best days on both of them are ahead. I think I got to pick Dax because, not for the superficial reasons, even though I absolutely have those as well.
Of course.
I have Kira a couple times too. I pick the main characters a lot more often than you do, apparently. They're just, while she is not fully fleshed out yet, and I do think Blood Oath is her best development episode, and that wasn't this season, I do think this season got more consistent with giving her something decent, whereas the first 2 seasons completely wasted her. So I'm going to say Dax because this is the season she finally starts to become a character on the show, whereas she wasn't before.
Yeah, I think those first 2 seasons outside of Blood Oath and a couple other spots were very Sigourney Weaver in Galaxy Quest.
Right?
Felt
Not
like she got
fair.
to read a lot of
Terry Farrell deserves better. Yeah. We're not going to speak to Keith's opinions, obviously, but his only repeat, and he only did half the episodes, but his only repeat was Jadzia Dax as well. He picked her twice. Going for annoyance, you have Bashir twice, and that is your only repeat. We did get a lot more loose this season with our annoyances, where we went outside of characters in the episodes a lot more. For instance, you had Paramount Plus, you had Future Music, you had Trigger Happy Militia, you had the Jemadar that beat up O'Brien. So you had some different things, and I similarly, I did like Mind Wiped Zek. I did Jonathan West, who was not, I don't know, remember Jonathan West was. He definitely was a character. I don't know if he was a director or designer or writer or whatever. I had Mir Bashir and then Old Bashir. Yeah, I have one that just says lack of development of Maquis characters as my annoyance. So we definitely got a little looser this season. I will say I'm not going to pick him, but I will say the writing for Odo got weaker this season. I think. I think that's why he's shown up a couple times on mine. But 3 times I had Odo, which is, I mean, Bashir, if you count the variations, Old and Mir and whatever, I also had him 3 times, but I only had one like classic Bashir. I just, Odo in this season, it was starting to be just about his pining for Kira, which back in the day I kind of liked, but now I don't. Even though now I understand it better, right? Because I really am admiring Nana Visitor and her performance and Kira's character development. Yeah, I still hate it in Odo as a character, which I didn't hate it back in the day. Yeah, and also like he was almost supplemental. Like bringing in Eddington didn't feel awful because it's like, yeah, no, he doesn't really do the. I don't know. And then we're gonna bring in Worf, he was the security officer next gen, which is Odo's job. He's going to be a new position called the tactical officer, but it still kind of doubles up, and Eddington's still there. So now we essentially have 3 characters doing a very similar job. They do find niches to carve out for Worf. He never runs security on the station. That's not his job. But they find multiple things for him to do that are useful and make sense for the development of his character. But
they need a lot of security on that.
Well, he's tactical, and he's also like a command officer that like he'll take the Defiant out a lot without Sisko. Like when Sisko's not around, Worf's commanding the Defiant, and great use of Worf, right? Like Sisko's got a lot going on. Yeah. Great use of Worf to put him in charge of the ship. So, not complaining. But it's really hard to find those holes when you've already got your security chief, and then you added a second security chief of Eddington, and now you're adding Worf too? Anyway, I'm not going to choose Bashir either, because even though he comes up a few times, I think Bashir's way better in season 3 than the first 2 seasons. Definitely. I like Bashir a lot. Now, I'm going to choose Eddington. I chose him twice. He annoyed me. I didn't like him from the beginning. Yeah, I like the idea of him. I think there's a lot of potential to cause legitimate conflict with Odo, and I think it's misused.
I'm struggling to come up with a good alternative like I apparently picked every week. I don't want to pick Bashir either, even though I picked him twice.
Yeah. Well, one of them you just wrote Bashir at start. Oh no, you picked him 3 times. 2 real and then 1 Bashir at start.
Well, maybe I should.
That was in Distant Voices, which is a bad episode, and I chose Old Bashir for that one.
Let's give it a Bashir just for that.
Really? Okay.
I'm struggling to come up with another good. I want to come up with like an arcing thing that annoyed me all season, which I guess would be Paramount Plus, but I feel like I rag on them enough. But
you don't. Does Eddington rank up there at all for you?
I'm okay with him.
Okay, well we're not done with him. He's got more plot coming up.
You know what? Let's go with Paramount Plus so people know that it's great content, terrible app.
In general, I would almost call that a cop-out, but I don't want you to pick Bashir, so I'm going to say it approvingly.
I'm going to go with it.
Go for it. And then for our shady character, I'm looking to see if we had repeats. You chose Quark twice.
Okay.
But other than that, I don't see a... Oh, female shapeshifter. Oh, but then you chose a changeling in the finale. That's different. That's a different character. But I guess you could kind of argue the Dominion there twice comes in some way. You only had to win once. You only had you had Ducat twice.
Okay.
I had so many different. I had Ducat. No, I only had Ducat once. I didn't have any repeats in season 2.
I think I want to pick Ducat or, let's go with Lynn just because I love her shading so much. And I have said before, I usually am not somebody to be like, oh, I really love to hate that villain, but she's one I do. And as you'll see in the upcoming special episode, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, I'm curious to see if I hate her as much this time around or not. I know I will love Louise Fletcher's performance regardless, but
I'm looking forward to you and I's reversal because I've been DS9, but One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest is completely new to me. So reverse of you, right?
Yeah.
So I've wanted to watch the movie forever. I'm really glad you chose it. I'm looking forward to it.
I probably the last time I saw it was probably around this time, around Deep Space Nine. Probably, I feel like I saw it as a little kid and as a teenager, I think, and then as an adult, and it was a little different each time. But yeah, the last time I'm like, I am so attracted to Louise Fletcher, and I want to punch her as well.
So
completely different, and those reactions are not related.
I have been. Oh yeah, with a lot of Deep Space Nine's recurring characters, I don't want to give you specific numbers of episodes or seasons because I don't want you to be like, too spoiled. But I think I'm okay with right now telling you that Ducat and Wynn are both ongoing concerns through the series finale.
Oh, okay.
They are both still adversaries to be faced all the way up until the final episode.
All right.
So
I appreciate both the characters and their performances, and again, there's some Ducat. There is, and I know you've hinted that there's not as much as it feels like, but occasionally they try and insert some ambiguity to him, but
there will be more of that too.
Yeah, but just his delivery and everything he does, it lends to that. Even though we know he's doing terrible things, and we know Wynn is doing terrible things, but Louise Fletcher's just so good at that. Oh my god.
I was so delighted that we get to the end of Deep Space Nine, and you have to defeat the Dominion. That's the big arc for the 5 seasons is defeat the Dominion. But you defeat the Dominion, you still have Ducat and Wynn to deal with. Like, they are still there at the end, and I absolutely adore that. They do not just show up as cameos in the finale. They are still an ongoing concern that must be dealt with in the finale of the series. So I feel like that while it is a spoiler, I think it's a spoiler that delights rather than ruins anything.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Because those two characters are so well done, and the actors are both top-notch.
Yep.
I am going to choose the Dominion, as my shady character of this season, because not only were they like low-key background threat, because they hit hard at the beginning, they didn't see him, they kind of hit hard with the two-part to attain, but they manipulated. But that's the thing, like, the two-part to attain, we found out they've been manipulating behind the scenes this whole time. And then we get to the end with the adversary, and the changeling's like, we're already, like, all throughout you. Yeah. And that's where I'm like, Starfleet hasn't entered the war with the Dominion yet, but the Dominion's already entered the war. Mm-hmm. So as we get into season 4 and Starfleet suddenly notices they're at war, they've already been at war. They just haven't noticed. And now I think that's a big part of the next phase of this conflict is as it becomes out and out open explicit war, which is very quickly coming. The Dominion's already been fighting, so Starfleet's going to be 8 steps behind in the foot race, right? Which I think makes for such interesting storytelling. And I do think the season finale delivered that pretty solidly, so I don't think it's a spoiler to say.
Yeah,
but man, we are hitting this war where Starfleet's already 8 steps behind. Not 1 or 2 steps.
Yeah.
It's not going to go well. So we're in for some rough days ahead. And that's where I will leave that. Any final thoughts you want to give on Deep Space Nine Season 3?
I'll just repeat what I've kind of been saying, which is, like I said, every time we sit down, like I don't necessarily expect every episode to hit it out of the park, but I go in like I don't know where it's going to go, and again, it's a watch for me. But it's also not definitely got to that point with TNG. Like, I guess this is a distinction, and I don't mean to make it a bag on TNG at the end, but it's a lot of shows that way, go through their spots, but. Some of the later episodes of TNG, you'd read the synopsis for the next week. I'd be like, oh boy.
Right?
Deep Space Nine right now, I'm mostly like, all right, let's go. I'm excited to open that present, whereas TNG, it's like, oh, it's another pair of socks. Granted, I love getting socks as a present. So if anyone wants to send me socks, please do. As an adult, can't have enough socks or underwear, but from a kid's Christmas present or holiday present or whatever. Yeah, I'm more excited. I'm definitely very excited about the DS9 presents, opening those every week. And and there is, as much as the TOS is a nostalgia thing from being a kid, I'm very nostalgic about the 90s. And I feel like a lot of other people are right now too, based on where we are in our world. Or maybe it's just me. But so I do enjoy those feelings of like, oh yeah, in the 90s, what was I doing? Oh, I was excited.
You were on a very famous TV show.
Yeah.
Back in the 90s.
And I was very excited about the future. So and not that I'm better days are coming, everybody. So hang in there. You know it because you're 6 months in my future. So you already know things are.
Oh, I don't think better days are coming in the next 6 months. I think we're going to be in a much worse position when this episode goes live. But I'm hopeful in 5 years, better days are coming.
Yeah.
I'm hopeful. Oh, we didn't talk about it. So I hate to bring this because I already asked you for final thoughts, but I intended to bring this up. Deep Space Nine Season 3 versus Voyager Season 1. While we're not really ranking this 2 seasons back and forth since we watched them together, it's an easy decision, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Voyager's definitely better at this point. Obviously joking. Obviously.
I'm enjoying Voyager. I enjoy the people on there. They're still in that, and we went through it with TNG and DS9 of, okay, we're going to do similar things to TOS and Disease of the Week or Planet of the Week or Thing of the Week until we get to our groove. But Voyager's doing a great job of bringing out the characters, and DS9 did that too. And Voyager might be, and maybe it's just to go back to the Christmas present analogy. The Voyager people are shiny new toys, especially shiny new toys. But the DS9 people, I mean, I've only got 3 seasons with them, and I'm enjoying them and finding out newer things about them. And there are other shiny things show up in DS9 too.
So
the episodes are just better. They've found their voice. They know their voice. They know what they're doing.
Personally, think Voyager Season 1 is better than Next Gen Season 1 because they found the characters and voice a lot sooner.
Yeah.
But Voyager Season 1 does not have anything comparable to Duet, which was in Deep Space Nine Season 1.
Nope.
So I think Voyager Season 1 is inferior to Deep Space Nine Season 1, but better than Next Gen Season 1.
I think you're right. Even with not as many episodes, I think that helps.
TOS still has the best Season 1 of all of them.
Yeah.
Hands down. Hands down. While I would put Duet up with the best episodes of TOS Season 1, overall, TOS Season 1 had more highs than even DS9 Season 1. But yeah, Voyager's off to a stronger start than Next Gen, not as strong as Deep Space Nine. I want to reserve judgment because we've only watched 1 season and I've only seen about half of Voyager, but I did not expect this when we started this podcast, but I'm starting to think I'm going to like Voyager better than Next Gen.
I'm curious too, especially with like people like Shane and other folks that are like, and Tara, who also popped up for some Voyager.
Just once, unfortunately, or at least once per series.
But that's their trek, and there's good reasons for it. At least so far, it seems like there's good reasons for that. So
to me, right now, DS9 and TOS are battling it out for 1 and 2, and TNG and Voyager battling out for 3 and 4.
Yeah.
But I think from Voyager being this early in the race, kind of already has a leg up, and that makes me think this might be, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think because I'd not seen TOS when I originally watched DS9, I think I'm going to be a lot more torn when we get to that point than I
Yeah.
expected to be,
Yeah.
because I was always like, Deep Space Nine is my favorite, but
Mhm.
TOS was so damn good, and part of the problem is going to be recency bias. Like, it'll have been 10 years since we watched TOS.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I did just watch The Cage with Zoe, and I'm going to encourage her to watch more. We're not going to watch it episode by episode, but I'm going to try to show her the best of TOS.
Yeah.
And maybe that'll keep it fresh enough in my mind over the next few years that I can give it a little bit better judgment. But
Yeah.
I think we're battling 1 and 2, and we're battling 3 and 4. And then, of
Yeah.
course, animated is 5.
Yeah. That one, that's no doubt. That's, yeah.
Don't know where Enterprise is going to fit in, but
Well, yeah.
I think we've got our 2 top tier and our 2 second tier.
Yeah. I think it's pretty clear right now. Yeah.
But we'll see. We'll see how Voyager develops. There may be large swaths of Voyager I missed that's going to, like, make it a clear something. Anyway, we're going to do 3 special episodes in the break, as we always do. Maybe 4, because we're going to do, for sure, The Ashes of Eden, the first book by William Shatner that he wrote after Kirk's death, also by Judith and Garfield Reeves Stevens, as we hinted earlier. We're going to do One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, which, again, super excited about. And Keith hasn't chosen a specific board game, but we're going to do a board game night at my house where he's going to pick one of, like, the 10 Star Trek board games on my shelf.
Yep.
And it won't be... I can't imagine it'll be as fun as the VHS, because the VHS was awesome. But we're going to pick another Star Trek board game, and we're going to try it out, and it's going to be... I'm looking forward to that. Yeah. And then if we have time to squeeze it in, I might even find like a YouTube version and just have you guys watch it on your own. But finding that bonus disc for Voyager, that was the 15-minute Star Trek experience look. I'd love to squeeze that in if we can, as a special, as a 4th special. Because it's so short. Like, we could record 15 minutes and be done. Yeah. But also, like, I went and experienced it, and you two didn't, and I'd love to talk about it some more. And I never saw the second version, the Borg version. I'm sad I never will get to, but Star Trek Experience was awesome. So I would love to do that as a 90s special. If we don't do it this break, we'll do it next. But I'm going to try to squeeze in this break. And then we'll be back for Deep Space Nine 4. Woo, I'm so freaking excited. And Voyager 2, which I think is, as far as I remember, was an improvement on Voyager 1. Yeah. Until then, hopefully we'll have Keith caught back up with us. You know, he's only 2 episodes behind on Deep Space Nine right now. He said he'll be ready for Way of the Warrior. So until then, live long.
Because you got to make it to season 5 of Strange New Worlds with us and prosper.
It's All Been Done presents
Who's Got the Time?